You got to get to the why without asking why. And then woman went, oh, wow. Like, oh my God, I did something wrong. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Every negotiation starts with a no. How negotiation also impacts sales.
You bond with me, you're honest with me, and you want less.
Sure, because then obviously you get to this emotional level and they start telling you the truth. We want always to hear the yes in our heads, right?
Happy
Especially
ears,
exactly. This
happy ears.
Exactly.
Yeah, because unexpressed negative emotions never die.
Welcome, Chris. Thanks
you.
really for taking the time recording here a podcast in your favorite city, New York.
My favorite city, yeah.
And we'd really go into one topic which I'm really passionate about, which is obviously sales, yeah. And talking about how negotiation also impacts sales. And what I have seen, so just to give you a little bit of background, we've developed a platform where we record sales conversations, yeah, we analyze them then provide feedback, yeah. And we see always a couple of patterns, yeah, that obviously sales guys are very nice all the time, yes saying all the time, not like labeling too much, yeah, like rather asking open questions and so on and so forth. And obviously you are an expert in the negotiation part. And what our audience is super interested in, yeah, is how can you get, like, especially from a sales rep, this kind of yes mentality, yeah, we want always to hear the yes in our heads, right?
Happy
especially
ears,
this exactly this
happy ears.
Exactly. How to get more to the no's, yeah, because you also say every negotiation starts with a no, yeah,
right,
to get more value out of it. What is your take here?
Well, you got to get over your fear of no first. Most people think if yes is success, then no is failure. So you immediately become horrified over no. So all communication and empathy is about what it is to the other side, not what it is to you.
Very good, yeah.
So we love to hear yes, but there isn't anybody that likes to say it. You know, the salespeople that are constantly trying to get somebody to say yes will always be reluctant to say it themselves. So to really grasp how different it is to say a word versus hear it. And whenever anybody says yes, they're worried about the hidden commitment. What have I locked myself into? What's coming at me? It becomes a Pavlovian response. And not that saying yes has always burned them and hurt them, but it's just hurt them enough that they remember it. I think it's an African phrase that once you've been bitten by a snake, you're afraid of ropes. That's the way the human being reacts. So humans have all learned that every time they say no, it's protected me. It's kept the unknown away from me. So when I say no, I feel safe and protected. So if I'm in a negotiation with you, I want you to feel safe and protected. Because now you're going to open up and you trust me and you're going to talk to me. So every time I get you to say no, you feel better about the conversation. And then that begins to open up the conversation. And then you can actually be honest with me. You know, as in the previous conversation, give people the space to be honest. It's one of the ways to give somebody the space to be honest. And then following that, I got to listen. Like the yes or no question has nothing to do with listening to the other side. Yes or no is about obtaining a decision. I want you to decide to listen to me. Is it a ridiculous idea if I share some ideas with you? That's how I ask to get your attention, to get you to listen. Then I got to listen to your answers. I have to actually listen. That's the second part. It's a little harder. Almost to the point where people on my team get so good with the no-oriented question, they forget to listen afterwards. And I put a lot of pressure on the people that work for me to continue to listen. So the next step is to listen. Actually listen. Not pretend to listen, not wait for your turn to talk.
And is it, Chris, also what I'm hearing obviously is like getting the no, then afterwards listen, which makes totally sense because just saying no and then not listening is a waste of time for everyone, obviously.
Exactly.
And that most when I also with our salespeople we have in our community, what I'm seeing there is that some want just to have the fast success, right, so to say, and that's why they rather have the yes and not facing the truth sometimes.
Right.
How really can you transform that you, as a sales rep, we talked also, or you talk also a lot about changing your mindset, that it starts a lot with the mindset and how to get in. How can sales reps really do that? Or in the negotiation, to have this, hey, I'm saying now no, I give you a statement, and then I listen, and then I get into a completely different path than just hoping that the deal closes, so to say.
Yeah, start with just your everyday conversations. Practice the skills, the listening skills, which are labels and mirrors, principally, paraphrase and summary. You got to listen to somebody to summarize them, to get it, to have comprehension. And so practicing your conversations to summarize back to somebody so that they say that's right. Now, how do you get the information to summarize back? You label in your mirror. They're giving you information. And a great summary includes how they feel about something, and maybe in a hidden fashion. We're doing an exercise on our training course. We'll have 3 people. And one person is talking about something they're passionate about. Person number 2 is labeling and mirroring. Person number 3, when the conversation is over, is supposed to summarize what was said. And then ideally add a point that was there but was unspoken. So the woman, conversation, this woman's talking about how she enjoys her fitness.
Yeah.
She's talking about her fitness. She's talking about get her kids fit. And I sit down just in time for the summary. And the person doing the summary says, so far you've told me, and start listing the facts. As a result, you feel.
So you connect like the facts, obviously, with the feeling, because the feeling is more.
Because you believe in.
Oh, wow.
And in the summary, he threw in, and you're really happy about this because your kids are proud of you too. And a woman went, oh, wow. Yeah, and I never even said that. That's listening.
How did you, in that situation, how did you get that out with the proudness of the kids? Was this?
Well, I sat down late and heard the summary late. What I was delighted by was that he threw in a point that was strongly implied but never spoken. And that's what listening really is. Now, most people, you can partially listen, and so far you've told me, and they'll remember everything that was said. But since they were partially listening, it didn't occur to them how they felt about the facts. Yeah. What are the facts? How do you feel about the facts? How do the facts and your feelings reflect your values?
That's very strong, because what we also see, and we have analyzed over 100,000 sales conversations, like calls and meetings and so on. And we see that the most successful sales reps, yes, they summarize it, but obviously when you summarize the feeling or even attach the feeling towards it, it's a lot stronger, and you connect even with the human, I think, a lot more than just saying, hey, you are interested in buying a certain solution, but why are you buying it? Also getting to the why behind with the feeling. Yeah,
but the critical issue, and I'm glad you brought up the why, you got to get to the why without asking why.
Yeah.
Now that sounds crazy, but the problem is, why is used so much as an accusation. Why did you do that?
It's so hard from our childhood, maybe coming and
even as an adult, I tell executives in companies all the time. Every time they get somebody that works for them who did something wrong, the executive's first question is, why did you do that? So they've conditioned their employees that enough of the time, if they're asking why, they think I did something wrong. And let's say the executive just actually wants to know, to be enlightened. And he says, why did you do that? The employee's going to be like, oh my God, I did something wrong. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. They've been conditioned that it's an accusation. So what does that mean? You got to find out the why, but you can't ask the why. So how do you find out the why? You speculate on it. You make an emotionally intelligent, educated guess.
like you did with the mom and the kids and the proudness, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And once you get then to this point, yeah, you obviously then it's like a match. Yeah, what I felt before is like really when you said that to the mom and when you had that summary, that the mom was like super connecting to you already, because oh yeah, Chris knows what's going on here, right?
Exactly.
And that's really, is this the goal where you want to go towards in a negotiation then at the end?
Yes, because what happens when someone feels that? The neurochemical reaction. When someone feels connected to me, the neurochemicals in them that's triggered are 3. Oxytocin, 2, would have 3 effects. The 2 chemicals are oxytocin and serotonin. Now, oxytocin has 2 effects. Oxytocin is a bonding drug. They bond with me. I got to be very careful about this, because I get into people all the time. They're bonding with me, and I don't even know it, because it's a one-way bond.
Yeah.
You know, they're bonding with me, and I've just been fascinated, and it's completely gotten by me. They feel very close to me. Since it's a one-way bond, the unfortunate reality is I don't feel close to them. I'm just curious, but I don't feel close. I didn't get the oxytocin hit, they did. So they've been hit with oxytocin, they feel bonded. Now, oxytocin has a secondary effect, which is even more important than bonding. It makes people tell the truth. It's also the truth serum. So you bond with me and you start telling me the truth. Now, the second chemical and the third effect, the second chemical is serotonin, and the third effect is satisfaction. So you bond with me, you're honest with me, and you want less. It's a pretty good setup for negotiation.
And so, Chris, I really like that, yeah, because that gives so much different perspective now, not only repeating the facts, obviously, because in a lot of sales conversations, it's about the facts, right? I heard that, and that, yeah. But getting one level deeper to this emotional intelligence as well, and seeing the real reason, like with the mom and the kids, they are proud about her, is one of the most important parts then, yeah? Would you say that also when you can connect on that emotional level, yeah, even if you have not the facts perfectly together, this seller will be closing the deal more likely than someone just summarizing the facts?
Yes, they'll close for you, or they'll tell you what it takes to close.
Sure, because then obviously you get to this emotional level and they start telling you the truth. Okay.
Start telling you the truth. So the deal gets closer no matter. If the deal doesn't close, it's closer. And there's great power in actually knowing. I mentioned my colleague and friend Jonathan Smith a couple times today, and the other day he says to me, it's very powerful to see things as they actually are, as opposed to how you hope they are. If I see your condition, your circumstance, as it actually is, now I know whether or not I can close. If I only see it as I'm hoping it is, the close is never going to be effective.
How to differentiate it? So how to really identify, like you said, we identify the truth when we are emotionally connected, yeah? But how do you know then when someone is not saying the truth? And are you going then always deeper, or how are you doing that?
Well, your gut instinct tells you. They're giving you all the clues that you need in their tone of voice, in their facial expressions, in what we would call affect shifts, which are physical movements. Like if you say to me, so it seems like this is what you're looking for, and you go, so there's all this affect here. And now you don't know what it is, but you've seen it. Now they know you've seen it. And it's a misgiving about something. Or consideration of something. Now you ignore that, and they now are aware that you're ignoring clues, which does not build trust.
And once you lose the trust, obviously the deal, you're not moving forward in the right.
Sure. Where's the space to be honest?
Yeah.
But I don't know what the affect with those facial changes, what that tone of voice changed. So what I'm simply going to say is that it seems like something important just crossed your mind. Now you'll tell me. Because it's an invitation to talk as opposed to an inquisition or an accusation.
So what I'm hearing, Chris, is also, so my spouse, is also a conflict management coach, so to say. Yeah. Obviously, this is also a huge topic. Lots of people, and I would also say especially salespeople, are avoiding conflicts, right? Because they are afraid of it. Yeah.
Right.
And obviously, how do you see that this seems to be starting as a little bit of a conflict? How can people get over that feeling to say, hey, Chris, I'm feeling that there might be something off. Yeah. And how do you ask these questions?
These small negatives. The reason people avoid conflict is because they've avoided for so long it's turned into an explosion. Or it's like an infection that has festered into cancer. Mm-hmm. And they're afraid of the cancer. They're afraid of the explosion. And they don't realize that the sooner that they go in and uncover this, the sooner it will deactivate it. The yellow flags, if you will. Mm-hmm. Most people know red flags, and then they realize they were ignoring the yellow flags. So the verbal observation, it seems like, is a great way to not in a non-threatening way, to uncover a problem.
Like really seeing it early on, right? To say like the yellow flags and identifying, and then immediately talking about it. Also in a conversation, in a sales, addressing it immediately and not like waiting until the next meeting or whatever you're saying.
Addressing it gently, and whatever your word is. Are you gentle? Are you nice? Mm-hmm. Are you kind? But addressing it and say, seems like something's bothering you.
And even, Chris, because most people then recognize it too late sometimes. Yeah. Yes. Even then, once you recognize it, you are saying you should address it gently, nicely, kind, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, because unexpressed negative emotions never die.
And they rather
rot
up.
And they fester and they turn into cancer. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are there any other ways to get these negative emotions off, like on a negotiation?
No, just trying to call them out. Mm-hmm. And the really crazy thing that we've discovered is if you call out a negative emotion that's not there, it actually acts as an inoculation. And most people are afraid that calling out a negative will plant it. And you can't plant a positive or a negative emotion. You can't plant them.
They're there or not, right? They're already
there. If it's not there, then they'll say no. It's not there. If you're upset with me and I go, you seem happy. Like, no, I'm upset. I can't make you happy by saying you seem happy if you're not happy.
So that's really an important nugget, I think, because as a sales rep, you don't need to be afraid to focusing on that emotion, right? Because if the emotion is anyway not there, it's not a problem at all. And if the emotion is there, it brings you closer to your goal, getting the truth.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
And then with negative emotions, I don't know why, I just know it happens. And it happens so much that we teach this. Like, let's say you're not upset with me, but I know that what I'm going to say is going to make you upset. Mm-hmm. Now you're not negative yet. Yeah. I say, when I finish saying this, you're going to be mad at me. You're going to hate me for saying this.
Yeah.
And you'll think, go ahead and say it. And then I'll say it, and you won't go, I do hate you. Yeah. What you're going to say is, nah, it wasn't that bad. I appreciate the warning.
Yeah.
Every time. I kind of learned this the hard way was, when back in my FBI days, I'm working international kidnappings. There's a kidnapping in a country. I fly out. I go into the embassy. I'm the expert from Washington. The expert from Washington is never welcomed with open arms. To the embassy, the guy from Washington is showing up there because headquarters thinks they can't handle it. They're incapable of dealing with the situation. Yeah. So I'm bad news. So I'm sitting down in the embassy, and in point of fact, they need my help. True. And if I sit down and I start laying out what's going to happen, which I used to do when I came in, they get mad. And they think I was direct and harsh, and I didn't respect them.
But that's not the truth, right? That's not what
I'm just laying out, here's what, do this, do this, do this, do this. So I can remember at some point in time, since I knew the reaction was that I was being harsh, I changed my approach to, this is going to sound harsh.
you already get the emotion before.
And I go, do this, do this, do this, do this. And they go like, okay. When before they used to get offended. And I can remember the first time my partner's laughing. He'd see me, rile people up in 3, 4, 5 times in a row. And the first time I said, this is going to sound harsh. My partner's telling me, like, he's starting to duck. He's afraid there's going to be an explosion. And then when nobody reacts, he's like, what just happened? You used to make everybody mad. Now when you tell them you're going to make them mad, they don't get mad. But so if I know it's coming, I can stop it by calling it out.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Chris, I could continue with you the whole day. These are so valuable insights, and especially we take one thing with us. We take multiple things with us, but just one thing I want to remember, that addressing these thoughts, these emotions immediately, like also when you walked into the office coming from Washington, the reaction is a completely different one at the other side, right? And that's what you can do as a first step to get into that.
Yes.
Chris, I would have tons of more questions, to be honest, but the time is running out, so to say.
You can't hold me hostage for the rest of the day, can you? I gotta go. SWAT team's outside. They're gonna come in and get me if I don't get out of here.
But definitely happy to continue that at a certain stage. One thing, maybe as a last question from my side, what's like one thing, and especially if you can answer that, especially on the thousands of people you have trained and coached, what do you see as a pattern on sales reps? Where are they really bad in negotiation? And if you can answer that on a short term, what can you change that?
First problem is they're addicted to yes. Second problem, they're addicted to explaining their value proposition. And the other side wants to be heard first.
And then there is a future.
And it's a problem. But, they're taught in business school. What's your value proposition? What's your elevator speech? Yeah. And all this business school training, whether it's graduate or undergraduate, is practice giving your value proposition. So salesperson's got all this practice. Like, you don't know how hard I worked on this. I got to say this. I've worked for weeks to memorize this. And they're so focused on that they never listen. They don't. You got to let the other side go first. So don't be addicted to yes. Let the other side go first and actually listen to what they said.
Chris, thanks a lot. That's a really 3 great things, because we also always say talk less, and listen more. And with your thoughts from today, we have definitely lots of insights to get that going.
Amen. My pleasure.
It was a pleasure, Chris. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you. Boom.